a few deep breaths to connect with our inner self. Breathing in the love that is in this circle this evening and in all of our circles of involvement and influence. And breathing out the light that each of us is and the light that each of us provides to the collective consciousness and light of the world. And another deep breath, and let's journey for a while. Let's journey in circle. Let's sit in circle around the sacred campfire. As we take another deep cleansing breath in, there's all those things that we did today and all our activities, breathing them out. They're all gone. They're all waiting for us later. So we need not concern ourselves with them. We're going to simply sit here in circle around the big campfire. Imagine, if you will, a place that you have been in the past, where you have been in circle with other spiritual family members. Perhaps that's the big perhaps that's the big bonfire up on the Rim Rock at Sunrise Ranch during a CoCreators Convergence gathering. Perhaps it's something in your childhood around the campfire with family, telling stories, eating s'mores. Perhaps it's in some other environment in your own backyard. Here we are around the fire. We are all spiritual beings. And I'm going to invite us to spend a little time both in our heart of hearts, our deepest heart, of considering the conditions of this three-dimensional world that we're in. Today, 2020. And take a deep breath and bring the love and the light into our hearts. Cleanse our hearts and throw that love and that light out to the entire world. As we sit around the fire, imagine for a moment who's at the fire with us. Everyone on this call, everyone that will listen to this recording later is already at that campfire with us. And you look across the fire to them, catch their eye, smile. Know that they too are the light of the world. Know that they too are contributing to the collective consciousness of moving humanity, our dear Mother Earth, forward into a time of collective consciousness that will benefit all. Then let's expand our view around the fire. So there's all of us. Well, there's also, when we look in a different direction, other people that were sitting around that campfire with us that we've already imagined, whether it's our family, our DNA family, our Boy Scout or Girl Scout camp out, our CoCreators Convergence. And we recognize that there are other people that have joined the circle. Some of them, we recognize their faces. Some of them we don't. Those that have never been to the Convergence and sat around the Rim Rock fire pit, there's some on this call. And so there's some that have joined us here. But as we look around the fire, we're just amazed at the growing number of people that are also sitting around this fire and the light that shines in their heart, because we can see and experience the light that they have there. In fact, as we look across this fire pit, we recognize a few people from the news. Our head mind recognizes them from the contemporary news or stories that we've heard or news that we've heard about things that are going on on our planet. So we recognize Greta Thunberg is now sitting in our circle. And we recognize her as a fellow human being that is here for the benefit of all and helping us on our journey. It's kind of amazing because as we look further around the circle, we're seeing people that we would not expect to show up in a spiritual gathering of spiritual people around this sacred fire, but they're there. The Dalai Lama is in our circle, and we're both honored and recognize that he is honored by our presence in this circle. Interestingly, our head mind is challenged when we look to the right and to the left of the Dalai Lama across the fire pit. Because what we recognize is two young children, and the only way our head mind can describe them is two kids that we've seen in refugee camps on the news in Yemen, in war-torn Yemen. This is kind of startling for the head mind. And so we invite ourselves to drop into our heart mind and recognize, what are we seeing? The Dalai Lama and a couple of refugee children. How do we experience fellow humans on this spiritual journey? And then we quickly start looking around the fire pit, and we recognize some of the other people that are sitting around the fire pit with us. We can't believe it. Those kids over on the right side look like kids that we've seen on the news that are enslaved and are mining precious metals out of Mother Earth that we know go into the production of the iPhone that we're using tonight. And right next to him is the Pope. Right next to those children, slaves, is the Pope, also in our circle. Wow. Our mind, as we look around the circle, is kind of being blown, because sitting next to Standing Rock water protectors in their Native American garb is the president of Brazil, who we know factually is destroying the lungs of the planet by what he's allowing to be done to the Amazon. There's Gandhi in our circle. And on either side of them, we don't recognize who those people are, but in fact, they're two members of the Monsanto board of directors. There's Chinese children from sweatshops that make clothes that we wear. And in between two of them, a very distinguished woman who we do recognize, she's holding hands with them. That's Elizabeth Warren. Next to Greta is Rex Tillerson, the former head of Exxon. And we're looking around the circle our mind wants to find other people, and our heart wants to ask us, why are these people in the circle? Well, of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is in the circle. And then we turn a little to the left and look, and Donald Trump is standing right next to her. Wow. We are spiritual beings in sacred circle. And by mention of one name, or maybe two or three, our mind wants us to be in a political experience. Let's take a deep breath together and recognize that this is the world that we're living in. We are living a human experience, some of which is labeled as, articulated as, a political experience, which we choose or choose not to be engaged in whatever way we do, while we are at sacred circle of spiritual beings. All I've named and 7 billion more are in the circle with us. So let's take a deep breath into that knowing. Breathe in love. Breathe out light to everyone in the circle. Breathe in love. Breathe out light to everyone in the circle. This is a big circle, and as we look beyond, in between a few of these people, we recognize there's an entire circle outside our circle. There's an entire circle of ancestors, completely encircle those of us that are walking the planet today. All of them are the history of the human experience and the history of political experience in the world, and the existence of the spiritual experience of all of humanity through all of time. So let's take another deep breath again, recognizing that this is our opportunity. We put up our hand and said we were made for these times. We can now take our raised hand and put it on our heart and recognize that only each of us can decide what is ours to do as we disperse from this sacred circle. So I invite us to one last cleansing breath in and out, and an invitation to hold dear in our heart this moment of unity and this moment of opportunity. Now, please return to your body, open your eyes, and enjoy this poetic meditation entitled Being For.
Are you for or against? We used to say. Often we did not know how else to get our way. To live, to create, to manifest our dreams. How we stood so strongly for forced us against what we opposed, it seems. Defining ourselves by what we are not has cornered us in this convoluted spot. When our right is born by making others wrong, we dance for dominance all day long. What if, while standing so passionately for, we embrace the contrast to meld in rapport? Light does not live to be against the dark. When light is being for, dark receives its part. You may have day, I may have night, yet both exist continually when you don't have to prove you're right. We are coming to know all things are related in this wisdom where all are created. Our left hand and right hand are opposite parts of a whole. Yet the whole does not oppose itself, it houses our soul. Mother Earth and all relations are in this joint venture. Release being self-indentured in our adventure. It's time. Time to be valued opponents and amiable allies. A blessed tension that builds to ascension. Opposition is a creation of the mind. Being opposite is a natural state where reflection is refined. Encountering differences, do you think your thought or mine? What if instead they both could combine? What if a polarized world were a thing of the past? Now we have the ability to live whole at last. To live whole because we're starting to see we are all part of unity. Miracles await us as we begin to soar, flying past boundaries that constrained us before. What if the cells of our body and us were to choose, simply choose, to live and be heaven here at last? So violence and imbalance are things of the past. Cells changing the whole instead of the other way around. From all this deep awakening, we live in heaven found. So, are you for or against? We used to say. Now we can co-create our world in a magnificent way, holding your view while also seeing mine. Brings us higher and deeper at the same time, uniting us together in our timely rebirth, building this garden of heaven on earth. Summon our hearts, remove all doubt, allow and create heaven all about. The time has come for us to let go of who we thought we were, to become who we are now designed to be, so we thrive it through as a world that works for all of life. You came here to be a part of this time. You are stout-heartedly designed for these times, or you would not be here. We are the leaders we have been waiting for. It's time to rise, within ourselves and together, like the phoenix from the ashes, like the butterfly from the caterpillar. It's time to rise together. Together with all of life, we rise.
Holy wind, blow through me, cast away my suffering, sing your truth down to my bones, for love is all, love is all. Holy wind, I'll do my part, make a sail of my heart, bind me to your ship of love. I hear you call, love is all. Sweet Sophia, make us wives. Shakti, fill us with your fire. Oh, Shekinah, make us whole. For love is all, love is all. In a world of war and woe, wash away these tears that flow. Warm our hearts so cold with fear. Trust near may all beings be set free from their pain and suffering. Holy wind, the angels call, for love is all. Love is all. Holy wind, the angels call, for love, love, love is all.